last year, we kicked off the Shot Stoppers program, our community violence intervention program that was headed at the time by former Deputy Mayor Todd Bettison. And we decided to try something that nobody else had tried. And of course, we had debate in this country, defund the police. And people said, defund the police, you need to put the money into prevention. That never made any sense to me. We need really strong law enforcement. We also need funded prevention programs. I never thought that it was a choice. The idea that you would have trusted members of community who had authentic relationships who would intervene and change decision-making ahead of shootings. That's where we make this city safer, is when we get people to make different decisions and not pick up the gun in the first place. And so when I first announced this, I got criticized on social media because I said, I don't know how this is going to work. Nobody's tried this. Across the country, they run CVI programs. They measure the number of midnight basketball games. They measure the number of contacts with at-risk youth. None of that's wrong. But at the end of the day, when crime goes up, they say, oh, you didn't fund enough of my program. When crime goes down, the police say it was because of us, and the violence prevention folks say it was because of us. And everybody just saw what they wanted to see. I wanted to take a different approach. And so we took 25 square miles of the city, the most violent square miles of the city, and we went to groups that we thought had the credibility to do this, and we said, you develop your own strategy, and we will support you to be in your neighborhood. And every week, each one of our 6 CVI partners gets a report card, just as the Detroit police precincts do, on the shootings in their particular area, and we compare them to the rest of the state. And we had some groups get off to a good start. What we are sharing with you today is extraordinary. The results from the last quarter, which were August, September, and October of this year, and that normally is the most violent quarter. August and September are warm months. It is the most violent quarter in the 25 most violent square miles of the city. And I am really proud to say that our 6 CVI groups, every single one of them, beat the citywide average in violence. This is not a coincidence. This is proof that what you're going to hear from today, these folks who are in schools, who are in neighborhoods, who are in hard conversations every single day, it is changing the paths of young people. And so let me show you some statistics. And so this is the map that you've seen many times. The 6 zones, and we have 6 groups, each responsible for their own territory in those 25 miles. And the rest of the city we call the DPD zone. That's what the police are doing with no support. And we were pretty proud of what happened. In the quarter, August, September, and October, what we call the Detroit police zones with no CVI partners, the shootings actually went down 35%. In any year, that's an outstanding outcome, and I'm really proud of the job the Detroit Police Department are doing. Right? But let me tell you what happens when you combine law enforcement with folks who know the community. New Era at 6 Mile and Schaefer cut the shootings in their area by 37%. And they've had some quarters that have been even stronger than that. Detroit 305 in Southfield cut it by 47%. Force Detroit over in the Warrendale area cut it by 52%. The Wayne Metro and the Denby area saw a 61% reduction. People's Community in the Henry Ford High School area, 73% reduction in shootings from the year before. Can you believe that? Right? And then in this area, Ray Winans and friends and family, an 83% reduction. People thought this was hopeless. People thought this couldn't change. I've never believed that. And you're going to get a chance to hear some of the stories of what happens when you talk to young folks who think they have no hope and no options, and you engage and show them alternatives. And so last year, our homicides dropped 18% in the rest of the city, 45% in the CVI zones. That's over an entire year. This is going to be nationally reported data because the Detroit CVI program is exceeding the performance of everybody else in the country. I do think you will see more cities move to defined territories and defined authority in their programs. And so on the left is a heat map of the violence all across the city. And you can see from 2018 to 2022, those were homicides and shootings in their concentration. You can see those exact same zones in 2024. Look how much the footprint of violence has been introduced. For 5 years, we made no progress at all. And in the first year with the CVI partners, here's what we've done. Give them a hand, right? And I know everybody's going to get singled out, but look at that area down in Warrendale, that Forest Detroit area. Every single quarter, they have put up an outstanding number. There's no red left, okay? I mean, the folks down in Warrendale, all you have to do is ask somebody who lives down there, and they'll tell you what has happened. And so Speaker Joe Tate and Representative Alibas Farhad are here. They have proposed legislation in Lansing for a public safety trust that would have a permanent source of funding. And we want to put a new group over in the east side by Denby, but that yellow area near 7 Mile and 75 is an area that's far too violent. We want to expand this CVI program to another area and then just keep going. We know this is working, right? We shouldn't have any area of the city where children go to sleep to the sound of gunfire. And so I'm going to give you a chance to hear from our legislative leaders, but we are ready in the city of Detroit to keep expanding. And you're also going to hear from Council President Mary Sheffield, who is going to put forth an ordinance that if we can get the Public Safety Trust Fund through, which means permanent funding for the city, we'll commit the city of Detroit to taking a third of that money and permanently funding the CVI program. So these folks never have to worry about writing grants or the like. And so I want to bring up two of the groups now. 1 year ago, I just tell you about these groups. They were trying to figure out how to get office space, how to hook up their computers, how to hire people. They were trying to figure out how to get Forbes into the city bureaucracy, right? A year ago, they were just trying to figure all this out. It has been a joy to watch them progress to now being focused entirely on what's going on in their neighborhoods. And I want them to take the time to tell you about what they're doing. So please welcome Negus Vu from the People's Community and Ray Winans from Friends and Family.
Hey, I want to thank everybody. Let me turn this mic up. First, I want to thank the mayor, Mike Duggan. I want to also thank the former deputy mayor and now chief of police, Todd Bettison. I also want to thank Mike Peterson, all the city council and the CVI groups making this help. This is a collective. It's not an individual thing. It's not one entity. The reason we're successful is because everybody has poured into us and we've helped pour into everybody. So I want to definitely give recognition to everybody. Can we give a round of applause for everybody? I'm going to be brief, but I will say up here on the stage, everybody here has worked very hard. The first year was a learning curve. This year is implementation and execution. And this is a testament to the great works of CVI. Do thank the city for having the confidence in all of these CVI groups to allow us the opportunity and the chance to work for the community. This is what we've been fighting for years. This is what community groups have been saying, fund the peace. When you're bringing people that's from the community to help resolve their own issues, this is a result of that. Last year, as Mike Duggan said, in the trajectory of the last 5 years, this has been the most violent quarter in the past 5 years. And today, it's the opposite. And that's due to the fact of We have people in the community that's showing love, that's doing the due diligence of communicating, working, doing their best to bring change in the schools, in the neighborhoods, in their homes. So thank you all. And also, last mention, the DPD at 8th Precinct for their great work as well. So peace and love, and thank you.
It's the afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Ray Winans. Most definitely want to thank everybody who believed in us. I was always taught you never want to prove people wrong. The people that don't believe in you, you don't want to prove them wrong. You want the people that believe in you, you want to prove them right, and giving them a reason to have to believe in you. So I'm gonna make it super personal, but I'm also make it quick. First and foremost, I want to thank my mother, right? Because this woman raised me over on the east side, and she always said, I needed a Ray Winans when you was younger, but I understand why you had to go through what you had to go through. But I always wanted to make her proud, and she let me know that she's super proud of me. One of the things, my partner, my fiduciary, Andy Arenas, just being able to get the money to us for us to be able to really get the work done in a timely manner, in a timely fashion with a quick response. Most definitely want to thank the former deputy mayor, but he the chief now, right? And I always tell him, you're a perfect example of black excellence for us. And I always commend you, and I respect you. And I trust you, you know? But Mr. Mayor, I really want to thank you, man, because me and you went on a ride, and we've been on a journey together. And I remember how we got here. But the reason why I want to thank you today is because you actually let me know that you trusted me when we was at the restaurant. And when you let me know you trusted me, it gave me a responsibility to our community, to the residents. And so it's not easy doing this work. Let me be very clear, right? When you're risking your life. But when you have people that believe in you and support you and want to see you win, it's worth the fight. And so the only thing I did differently was I buckled down. I spent more time focusing on the things that we wanted to grow. And I listened to my wife. And I got out these guys' way. And I went and got the guys who I knew that I can trust and I can bank on. Because our job was to do two things: service the community and advance the community. And that's what we did. Everybody wanted us to do everything their way. We couldn't. We got our mothers depending on us. We got our families depending on us. But more importantly, we got the residents depending on us, and we need more life. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up the voice of us, Will. But thank y'all.
How you guys doing today? I want to first thank Mayor Duggan, the new chief of police, Ty Beddison. This has been a remarkable journey for myself as well as my team. Starting on this journey, I used to always sit back and reflect and just ask myself, like, what can we do to be able to service the youth, to show them better ways and to just get them better routes to be able to take to where they don't fall victim to the same things that me and my friends had to encounter and endure during our childhood and growing up in the city of Detroit. And the conclusion that I drew was that we had to become direct examples, whether it be through showing them ways to gain employment, showing them ways to be better family people, showing them other ways outside of illegal activities that they can be great. So we started to change up our ways and our methods, and we started to walk life the right way. We started to make amends with people that we didn't believe that it should be done and things of that nature. But we never lost sight of the vision, which was to save as many youth as we could. So we got out together. We went out and got the people that had voices in the neighborhoods who wanted to make a change, who could possibly sway a kid from picking up a gun or picking up a book. So we went and got them guys, and we built out a team. I wasn't at the last, the round table when our numbers wasn't so good. So the mayor gave my guys an earful, and we wasn't feeling it for real. So we went back, we planned, we orchestrated, and we just executed. And these are the results that we got right now today with an 83% reduction rate. And then we striving to make that to 100. So we're going to get back out here and continue on the work that we've been doing. We're going to get with the seniors. We're going to get involved more with the block clubs and things of that nature so we can get that 83% to 100%. So I'm not going to be long. I thank you guys for your time, and I look forward to continuing doing the work in the community and just taking this stuff to the moon. So thank you guys again.
I hope the reporters who are here will take the time afterwards to talk to many of the people who are in the neighborhood. The stories they have are remarkable. And this is the thing about these groups. Every quarter you get the numbers. And every quarter the number wasn't always good. Instead of complaining about the measurements, they just got down to, okay, let's change up our strategy, and it's been phenomenal. We started this program, I think as most of you know, with American Rescue Plan money that won't be permanent funding. We talked about needing a permanent source of funds, and Representative Alabas Farhat and Speaker Joe Tate did a great job, passed the Public Safety Trust Fund through the House, got an appropriation for cities across this state for this type of funding of $100 million. Sylvia Santana is fighting right now to get it through the Senate, and if it passes, because it's in a trust fund, it will be a permanent source of funding that these groups can rely on 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. All they have to do is focus on what they do best. And so with that, I'd like to invite Speaker Joe Tate and Representative Alabas Farhat to come up and say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I bring greetings from the Michigan State House and also thanks to not only Mayor Duggan, members of the City Council, but to the CVI groups and the work that you all have done. So I've been in the legislature since 2019, and when we started off there in 2019, no one wanted to talk about gun violence. No one wanted to take up a hearing on universal background checks or starting to talk about extreme risk protection orders. But fast forward 4 years, having this opportunity to work with Representative Farhat, we've been able to pass common sense gun violence reduction that's going to impact everyone across the state of Michigan. But then also the piece around CVI. Not only were we able to stand up an office in the Department of Health and Human Services for the state of Michigan, we were able to provide resources to that. And the person that was leading that was Representative Farhat. So he came to me on the floor, and even before that, saying, hey, we have this Public Safety Trust Fund legislation that we want to pass and we want to get done. And if you all, those that have been involved in the legislature, sometimes there aren't people that support legislation such as this, getting resources over to areas that need, with the most need, in particular around gun violence, because this has been a new concept in Lansing. But through Representative Farhat's leadership, he was able to get bipartisan support for this legislation and get it through the House. And we're excited about what's going to happen over the coming weeks and making sure that it gets to the governor's desk, because this is incredibly important. Detroit has been leading the charge on being creative around gun violence reduction, and we want to show support in Lansing for the work that you all are doing. So with that, I would like to turn it over to the mastermind in the State House, Representative Alabas Farhat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Mayor and Chief Bedison, Councilmember Durhall, Council President Shetfield, and everyone that is here today. I got to say a few things. One that has become clear to me is that Detroit leads the way for the nation and for Michigan. We lead the way in CVI. We lead the NFC North. We lead in every measurable category that matters. That's right. But when I got exposed to CVI, it started at my first Detroit caucus meeting. The mayor presented a sheet to us of 10 priorities, and the first one was called Public Safety and Violence Prevention Trust Fund, $110 million. And I'm a freshman member. I just got elected. I used to be a staffer, and I'm like, you know what? Mr. Mayor, I want to take this on. I would like to take this trust fund on. I want to fight for it. And as I got exposed, my district right there is the one that Forest Detroit covers, is the west side of the city, northwest side. And I'll tell you, the impact CVI has had for mothers to feel comfortable letting their kids play in their front lawn, the dignity, the respect we're bringing back to the neighborhoods is because of groups that are sitting right here, that do the work. We are public servants, but the real public servants here today are our CVI groups that have fought hard and that do the work. It's not easy. It's dangerous. It's a risk, but you do it, and you do it because you believe that your neighborhoods are worth fighting for. And in Lansing, no simpler job that we have than giving those the tools they need to build the best neighborhoods possible. That's our job. That's our burden. That's what we carry every single day. Now, we're lucky to have a speaker that has the wingspan of an NFL linebacker. But I want to say this too for plain text. This public safety trust fund means nearly $20 million a year in perpetuity will come back to the city of Detroit. $20 million a year to the city of Detroit. So that means long-term sustainable investments right here in our city. Again, Mr. Speaker, your words are very generous, but I got to be honest, it's a collaborative effort. Mayor, when you and your team spearheaded the CVI program years ago, you guys gave us the skeleton, the blueprint to take statewide, and it's the council to work with them. That is what we needed, and that is what I'm grateful for, just to be a part of this and to be able to share the good work we do. And I got to say this too, we need the Senate to get it done. State Senator Sylvia Santana is a true champion. We're lucky to have her. She's a hard fighter. Trust me. Again, there's another football analogy. There's nobody you want to line up against. You don't want to line up against Sylvia Santana. She gets what she wants because she knows that she's fighting for the right issues. And so, again, thank you. I'm in immense gratitude for everybody here. And let's just get this done, folks. Let's get this done. Thank you.
This has been a cooperative effort between the mayor's office and city council from day one. Council member Fred Durhall headed up the gun violence task force that supported the initial CVI program, helped get us started when people were skeptical. And Council President Mary Sheffield, when she realized the federal funding was going to go away, and said, what can I do to help? I said, we got to fight for this public safety trust fund, and we need an ordinance that dedicates a third of it every year so that CVI is permanently funded. The two of them have been champions from the beginning, and we're going to need them now to finish the job in the City Council. So please welcome Council President Mary Sheffield, Council Member Fred Durhall.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Honored to be here. I am extremely proud of the growth in how we are addressing gun violence in the city of Detroit. I remember 12 years ago where we started just talking about this initiative, and to see us today and to see the data support it just warms my heart. We have taken an innovative approach, tapping into all of the tools to address gun violence, and I want to say that we are doing everything we can from a council perspective to support the men and women of DPD, equipping them with the resources that they need, the tools that they need to be effective. But we all know that the police department cannot do this on their own. It always takes community, it takes clergy, it takes each and every one of us to address this issue of gun violence. I have always stated that you cannot police our way out of violence in Detroit. It really takes us addressing the social issues that breed crime in our community, and it takes us addressing the human perspective of gun violence. And that is what I love so deeply about CVI. It's seeing hope and potential in people. It's connecting them with resources that will improve their quality of life, education, mental health, job training. And it sees the human side of people, not just policing and arresting people out of crime. So I just want to congratulate all of the groups on your hard work, to have the data to support the work that you all do. Let's give them another round of applause. So proud of you all. They've been doing this work for a very long time, never got the recognition, the credit, but now we are here today to honor you all and the work that you all do. As the mayor mentioned, I had a conversation with him about what's next. We have to figure out how to sustain this moving forward. And so and I want to thank the mayor for his leadership as well and being, opening to this idea of this program in Detroit. But we talked about it and we decided to move forward with the ordinance that would allow 1/3 of the Public Safety Trust Fund funding to come directly to CVI programs to make sure that it's sustained and also expands moving forward here in the city of Detroit. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to the passage of the Public Safety Trust Fund. I want to thank our leaders in Lansing for the work that you all do as well. I know it's not an easy task to get that done, but we are looking forward to it because we need it. I think about the trauma that is being prevented, the families that are being preserved of the devastation that violence causes our communities and our families. So kudos to everyone. This has been a true collaborative effort. Thank you all for the work that you do. Let's get this passed so that we can sustain and keep Detroit safe. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. First, I want to just start with a couple thank yous. I want to thank the groups that are here. Not thank you just for this, because many don't know that this was going on before it became popular. This was going on before we funded it. This was going on before it was in Lansing. So thank you for your advocacy and your support throughout the times when it was not popular to support CVI here in the city of Detroit or the state of Michigan. You were the boots on the ground. You were the folks going into harm's way, getting folks to put their guns down before our governments had decided that this was something that was worth funding. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to give a special thank you to Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your support and believing in it. But I got to say, Deputy Chief or Deputy Mayor at the time, Chief Bedison now, all throughout his time, been very supportive of the CVI. I remember one of the first meetings that we had with the Gun Violence Task Force. He ran down there and we sat there with all the groups from across the city of Detroit, East Side and West Side. It was with Deputy Mayor at the time, who was our chief now, came in and said, okay, if you guys want to push this forward, you got to make the mayor believe. He's a data-driven guy. You got to show what's the return on investment if we fund it. And we all in that room believe that. We had some very tough conversations. That's what goes unspoken about how government works. When you fund a program and how to keep a program going, which is why I'm thankful to Council President. I'd be happy to co-sponsor that ordinance as well, because we do need sustainability for this program. The facts are proven now. The data is there, and it's showing that this is making an impact in our community. I am very spoiled because I have Force Detroit. Big shout out to Force Detroit. Nothing against anyone else, but that Warrendale area that we speak about is right in my district. And when I can tell you about receiving the calls of folks hearing gunshots or folks losing loved ones, or even the DPD reports that we get when another victim is conveyed to Sinai Grace Hospital on the west side of Detroit, right? You guys know that. You guys go in, you help stop the violence, put yourself in harm's way. So I am grateful to be here today, to see this day come into fruition. But I'd be remiss that if I did not say this, that even those dots that are still on there are too many. One shooting, one fatal or non-fatal shooting is too many here in the city of Detroit. And that's not all incumbent upon you or DPD, but us as a community to come together and recognize what we are doing to ourselves. And so this collaborative effort between our government, between our CVI groups, and between DPD will continue to drive the violence down here in our city and make it safer for generations to come. So God bless you. I'm happy. Thank you, and congratulations to you all.
And I want to thank the staff here who's worked so hard at this. Michael Peterson, Andy Taverna, Pam McLean, and the whole CVI team. Right, you've done a great job. And so he's moved on to another job, but the guy who really started this up and ran it from the beginning and put his heart and soul into it he's happy to have you now because his new assignment is he has to get the shooting rate below when James White was there, and he's really glad to have you. Let's invite up Chief Todd Bettison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and of course that's a lot of pressure, but with the CVI team already know we're going to do it, right? Because that's what you've been doing. I want to thank also the men and women of the Detroit Police Department because we have something special in the city of Detroit. When I travel around the country and I talk to other cities and leaders and other CVI groups in this space, the thing that's a little bit different in the city of Detroit is, first of all, we talked about it, being able to really measure and separate the results so that we can attribute the success to our CVI groups because they have defined areas, a 3 to 5 square mile area that they have the most violent, where we know that it was homicides and non-fatal shootings. But it's something else that's really special. Our CVI groups get along with the police department. They really work together. You'd be surprised to know that in many cities, it's not a good relationship between community violence intervention groups and the police department. And so a city working together collaboratively and with everybody digging in to come together and say, this violence is too much, then you're not going to have the type of success that we are achieving in the city of Detroit. So I want to thank my CVI groups. I want to thank the captains and the commanders and deputy chiefs at the precinct. I want to thank also the members, Stephen Lamoureux and our folks over at the Real-Time Crime Center, because that's where the data comes from. You know, this is third-party validation. We make sure that everything is tracked. We give it to the CVI groups, but the men and women and all of us are all in, and of course, city council, our state legislatures. I don't remember a time in the city of Detroit where we all work so collaboratively together without pointing fingers, just moving forward to address violence in the city of Detroit, public safety. And as you can see, it's working. And so to my colleagues around the country, what I would say to you is we have the secret recipe in the city of Detroit, and it's real collaboration and really intentional community focus and engagement. We take care of the cops, we take care of our community, and we invest in the technology. Thank you so much.
So rather than take questions here, the story is the 6 groups. And so I'm going to make, I hope the reporters will take the time, just talk to the folks from these different groups, listen to their stories, tell what they're doing. You guys ready to tell your stories? And thank you all very much for being here.